Welcome to the American Security Council Protecting Our Freedoms podcast. The mission of the American Security Council is to educate and engage American citizens on national security matters, economic security matters, and the need for moral leadership in the United States of America. Please enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Joy Votrobek, Senior Research Analyst here at the American Security Council Foundation. And today is a special podcast because I have Steve Szilagyi with me in person, and he is a Senior Advisory Board Member. Steve, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I can. Obviously, you know my name now. And the short background on me is that I was born in communist Eastern Europe, in Hungary. And when I turned 18, actually before I turned 18, I figured out that I didn't belong there. So as soon as I turned 18, I escaped, went to a couple of jails in Europe, because without a passport, it's kind of hard to make it across the border. Came over here, learned English, and joined the Marine Corps. Once I got out of the Marine Corps, I joined the Army. Once I got out of the Army, I joined the Army Reserve. And that's pretty much the short story. So unless you want more, I have a lot more in there, the combat tours, like 4 years in combat or so.
Wow.
But that's about it. I got little details, but that's just a short introduction.
And then you settled down in this area as a police
No,
officer?
actually, I didn't. I settled down in New York because all immigrants go to New York. All legal immigrants go to New York.
Okay.
The people that come to this country legally wait in line, unlike some other people. And went to New York, worked, obviously learned English, which is, I think, if you want to be in America, that might be a really important thing for you to learn English versus where you come from.
It would probably be very important. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. And learned English, like I said, joined the Marine Corps, got out, went back to New York, figured out that New York was too cold because I always liked the warm weather. I was always stationed in warm climate, Iraq, Afghanistan, Panama, that kind of stuff, with a couple of little colder countries in between. And when I got out, I decided that I'm going to go someplace warm because I don't like shoveling snow. So I moved down to Florida because somebody told me that Florida is pretty good, and I didn't like New York. New York, I had a young daughter at the time, and I'm like, okay, if she's going to grow up in New York, she's going to have to go to New York public schools, which is probably not the best in the country. I'm just guessing. So we moved down to Florida, and that's the rest is history. I've been here since the mid-'90s. And I worked, and now I'm retired. So now I'm here.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for serving with us as well. And today, on Protecting Freedoms podcast, we are going to discuss Antifa and Black Lives Matter. I know these are some controversial topics, but let's start with Antifa. I understand you've done some research on the organization.
Yes, I did, because in the military, I did a little research because I was military intelligence. So, as a hobby, I still look at and read a lot. And this is going to shock people. In my opinion, those guys, believe in them or not, and I particularly don't, but at least they're out there in the trenches. Nobody else is out there. You know what? We all complicit. You know why they're all around? Because we let them. If we didn't let them, they wouldn't be there. And it's really simple. Those guys are out there because they believe in something, however wrong that is, because what they want, anarchy. And Antifa is like, yeah, we're winning. And they are winning. Black Lives Matter they are winning. You know why? Because we let them. Do you believe in them? No, but are you doing anything about it? Other than, I really don't believe in it, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm going to offend somebody. Because you cannot tell somebody that grew up in a communist country that you have the right to everything that I have that you didn't work for. Because that's not going to go really well with most people. Actually, that's not going to go well with anybody. And a lot of people, I feel, that they support these organizations and these people because they're afraid. Oh, what if they come for me? Wait a minute. Who did that before? Oh, yeah, that's right. In World War II. In Europe. When Hitler came for them. Didn't that happen? Hey, maybe in England. Oh, we're not going to have any war because I made a peace treaty with Hitler. Oops, that didn't work out quite well, did it? So that's why I think that Antifa and Black Lives Matter, it's they doing what they believe in. They might not be right. Actually, they are not right by any means, but nobody's doing anything about it, so they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when they come for you, guess what? You're out of luck.
So Antifa, going back to Antifa, their end game is, you believe, anarchy. And there's been talk that they're anti-fascist, anti-government.
That's, forgive me for saying so, but that's idiotic. Anti-fascist? When you don't let me do what I want, or you don't let me believe in what I want, that's anti-fascist? You're some kind of special moron if you believe that.
Well, it's interesting because they were anti-Trump, but now it appears that they're also anti-Biden.
They anti-everything.
Vandalized the Democratic Party.
They anti-everything. Anarchy is the key word here. They're going to be anti-everything. If I don't get what I want, I'm against it. Okay, well, you're not going to get what you want. Actually, at some point, if you're going to let them, they're going to get what they want. But not really, because they might be a little stronger in groups, but one-on-one, they have no basis for their argument. None whatsoever. Please, bring one. I would like to debate them. But that's...
Well, now, if they get what they want and they have anarchy in this country,
yes.
Eventually we're going to have to restore some law and order.
Yes, and we're not doing that now. We're just letting them run wild.
That's a good point.
So who's going to restore law and order? We're not going to let the police do it. I kind of have a little bit of experience in, being a cop. Just a tad.
Do you believe the military would step in to restore law?
Right now, I spent a few years in the military. Right now, I would say unlikely, because the military has been gutted. It's anything and anybody probably over an 05, which is a lieutenant colonel, is a politician. They're not gonna do it. They're looking for that next rank, so they're not gonna step in. Because, interestingly enough, they know that Black Lives Matter or Antifa or whoever, any one of these, they know that they are a small minority, but they're very loud. They make it sound like they are the majority. No, they're nowhere near it. They are a very small but very vocal minority. You really think that the communists in Russia were the majority? No, never. You really think Hitler and the Nazis were the majority? For a little bit, they were kind of, but once everybody figured out, they just went alone. It's like, okay, I need to make a living. You have to get a paycheck. So, okay, I'm good with it. Yeah, just leave me alone. And that's what's going on over here. Why do you think all these corporations giving them the money?
That was going to be one of my
questions as well. They want to survive.
Yes.
If we're giving them the money, they're gonna let us live. It didn't work out for the Jewish people in Europe in the World War II. Did it? So I think that's a good analogy of looking at it. What they're doing right now. Some of the people that are sponsoring them doing out of thinking self-preservation. Hey, if I pay them, they'll let me live. And that's my take on it. If you have a better argument, bring it. We'll debate it. As long as we don't go to, you're racist or you're sexist or whatever you are topic, we can debate it civilly. And I'll listen to your point. By all means, bring it.
That brings me into the Black Lives Matter. So do you believe that Black Lives Matter endgame is different from Antifa?
Oh, absolutely, Black Lives Matter. I believe all lives matter, but why would my life be any less than any black lives? And I don't think any cop or any person, for the most part, goes out there and want to hurt anybody. As a matter of fact, we all kind of want to go home at the end of the shift. We really don't want to do anything to harm anybody, but to do a blanket statement that all white people are racist, Or, excuse me, I was born in a foreign country. I was a minority. I'm still a minority. Why are you calling me a racist? You don't even know. Just because my skin is different? Isn't that the definition of racism? Right there. So, Black Lives Matter, I don't know what they do or why they do it, but they're not improving black lives. They're improving their bottom line. Show me what they do for black people.
And that's what I was going to
Show me what they do.
We agree, Black lives do matter. But the organization itself, the founders, the co-founders themselves have stated that they are trained Marxist. So their end game seems to be a little different maybe from Antifa, that they are looking toward a Marxist socialist society.
Oh, that's a great thing, Marxist socialist society. Show me a place where it ever worked.
Well, from your past,
it didn't work where I'm from.
A little bit about socialism, because I think some people in America think socialism wouldn't be a bad thing.
No, socialism is not going to be a bad thing. Socialism pretty much going to end, and no socialism ends in socialism. All socialism goal is communism.
Right.
You cannot tell me that communism works anywhere, or anywhere they tried it, it's they did it wrong, and you're going to do it right. How are you going to do it right? I would love to debate anybody that thinks communism or socialism is great, because if you take away people's interest to do good, to improve their life, they're not going to do it. I know from myself, because I grew up there. I worked harder not to work than to work, because I'm like, why am I going to work? It doesn't matter if I work or I don't work, I get the same money. And same with the doctor, or same with everybody else, because everybody was pretty much the same. So what is in the people's interest if they don't have a reward? Nothing.
And to some extent, we do have socialism. We have some social programs here that do work. But like you said, end game is communism. And when you get to communism, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have property rights. You're told where you're going to work.
Exactly.
You don't have the individual.
I was told where to work. I was told where to live.
I don't think that's what we want in this country.
I had a little identity booklet that everything that I'd done in my life was in it. Do we really want to go there? Do we want the government to assign us a job?
I don't.
I don't think that's a really good idea.
No.
So how is that going to work? How are they going to make it work? And you cannot tell me that Venezuela done it wrong. Well, I've been to Venezuela. In 30-some years in the military, I've been to a few places. Venezuela was one of the greatest countries that I know of. As a matter of fact, Venezuela was the third richest country back in the 50s, 60s. Oh, what happened?
Look at it now.
When you eat your zoo animals, something went wrong. You know what? Hey, let's have socialism. Let's give all the poor people everything that the middle class has. Well, what did the poor people do to achieve what the middle class had? Obviously nothing. I'm not saying that Venezuela was great, but third richest country in the Western Hemisphere, that's a pretty big step. So what happened there? When you give people something for nothing, they expect more. Oh, I got this for nothing. I can get more. And then who are you going to take that money away from? Who's going to give you the money that you're getting has to come from somebody. Last time I checked, the government creates nothing. So if the government creates nothing, that means that they take it away from the rich. Oh, wait a minute, the rich is rich, so they're gonna make sure that you cannot take it away from them. So who else is left? The middle class that has no protections. So it comes from the middle class, and pretty soon the middle class is going to be just like right down there with the poor. There was no middle class in Hungary.
Okay, let me finish up here. We're going to wind up a little bit here. But speaking of middle class and the people that have the money, one of the questions I had when our researchers were writing the paper on BLM was these elites, these foundations like Novo that's run by Warren Buffett, why are they giving money to organizations like Black Lives Matter who want a Marxist socialist society?
Self-preservation. I cannot think of it. There is nothing logical other than, if you really think that they believe in communism, in communism there is a very few people.
Money off of their own free enterprise.
There's a very few people in communism that are rich, and they are very rich, and those are not the Warren Buffetts, because the Warren Buffetts are going to be out. Because, hey, we're in charge now, so we're going to take pretty much everything that you have. We really don't need you anymore. That happened in Russia, believe it or not. The rich upper class was actually sponsoring the communists because they figured, hey, we sponsor them, we give them something, they're gonna leave us alone. Guess what? As soon as they became the most powerful thing in the country, all of a sudden the rich was not needed anymore. That's what happens. If Warren Buffett really believes in giving, hey, you got a pen, you got a checkbook, start writing random checks to people. That could work. Probably would have rather than giving it to somebody that's just going to take it away. Or actually, that's what they do. They give it away to people that they believe in. The Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates. They probably, one thing is self-preservation, and the other thing is that, well, we're so much smarter than everybody else, so we're just going to give it to these people because they need it, they without even knowing who they're giving it to. That's a possibility also, because they just think that they're superior to everybody.
And you said self-preservation, and so that's why probably these other big foundations are falling in line and giving money to not just BLM, but other social justice organizations. If
you had a big business, would you want your business to be burned to the ground?
No.
Oh, okay. So what's your out? Hey, let's bribe them. Maybe they'll leave us alone. And for some degree they will, because they know that you're going to give them another check. As soon as you tell them that, hey, we're coming because you said the wall is gray. Oh, the wall is not gray. The wall is white. So they're coming for you. And isn't that speaking to a little bit of this cancel culture that's going on right now? That's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to cancel you because 50 years ago your grandfather's third uncle removed said that cotton picking is an honorable profession. That kind of stuff. Okay, and let's go to our last question here I have for you. And that is, you said in your research, Antifa, that it appeared that some of these people don't have a legal source of income, yet they're being funded. Yeah. These people are going and protesting all over the country. Mm-hmm. And what research I've done is I can't find anything on them. Where they work at. I understand maybe they get donations from people or their buddies give them a couple of dollars to go, but you have to live somewhere, you have expenses, you have to have all kind of stuff. And where is that money coming from? I would really like to know, somebody raise their hand, that, hey, I'm paying these people to loot your business. Just, say, hey, I think that's a really great thing that these people are going around and they're looting businesses, so I'll pay them. Please come over. Tell me about it. Why do you think that's a great idea? Why do you think that's a great idea when these people go out and burn down small businesses or loot small businesses? And I think that the American Security Council is all for peaceful protests, but when you end up rioting and looting, you've crossed the line, and now the law needs to step in. Yeah, pretty much. And where is the money coming from? I could not find any meaningful way for them to support themselves with what I find on them. And I'm not going to list the names that I looked at. I looked at a few, and no, I can't find anything on them. That's interesting. But I kind of know how. I kind of figure out how, because being in military intelligence, you have to be probably smarter than an average bear. And being from a communist country, you have to understand how things work. So, yeah. So likely they would be funded by people that support their cause or anarchy or likely they are supported by people that support their cause, and also people that are collecting money from other people to give them because not necessarily they believe in their cause, but they take their cut. Hey, simple. Okay. Well, thank you for explaining that to us today. I appreciate you being here. Well, that's my view. If anybody out there that is listening has a better explanation, I would love to hear from them. And I would love to debate them about Antifa or Black Lives Matter. And they doing what they believe they are doing, and we're not doing anything about it, so we kind of deserve it. And
And we would welcome your input, so you can always come to the contact form on our website at www.ascf.us. Also check out our Black Lives Matter article under position papers. And we recently were just deleted from Facebook. So we would appreciate any support that you could give us. And that, again, is www.ascf.us/donate. Steve, thanks for being on the show today.
Sure, it was a pleasure.
Until next time, stay safe.